Our next guest has appeared at clubs and colleges all over the. He's certainly a close cousin of the Harmontown family, but I don't know if he's ever been on Harmontown or not. I can't remember. Maybe so. Well, let's ask him. Certainly, people that listen to this podcast. I
can't believe that we don't remember that answer.
Probably know who he is. I recently called him out on his middle initial and demanded to see his birth certificate. I don't know if he's brought it or not. But let's get to know Paul F. Tompkins, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Internet.
You received a one Dave Klein standing ovation.
That's right.
Yeah. So, all right, a couple of things to get out of the way.
Yeah, let's get right down to it, Dan.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why I did this. I had no idea why I did this. I read an AV Club comment section.
Oh, no.
Underneath an episode of Great Minds, this thing that you're going to do an episode of on my thing on the History Channel, which has now been rebranded History, so that it's confusing. Because history is a thing. It's the opposite of branding. All right.
So do you think people will look for the show just in history?
Yeah.
They're like, dig up old tests that they took that their mom saved in a shoebox. Was there anything about Dan Harmon's show in here?
I understand what they're doing because they're saying, well, channel? Channel, that's my grandpa's TV's name.
That's
right. Because what's a channel, Grandpa? But if you take the channel off of history, you have you have just a word, a very, very, very vague word.
And also a huge word that they are just laying claim to.
Yeah.
That's pretty bold.
Yeah, it'll never trend under it. It's as dumb as naming
It'll never trend.
Yeah. It's as stupid as naming your TV show Community or something like that. Like, oh, hey, how come we're not trending? Oh, but because they had to take that word along with Justin Bieber and the out of the fucking trending algorithm. It's true.
It's very true. The History Channel is. Hi, Paul.
I'm sorry. I should have told you, Paul. Jeff's here.
The History Channel is pretty light on history now. There's a lot of UFO things and lots of weird conspiracy shit, but
you're actually bringing it back. Bringing it back to its roots
with the comedy. Yeah. I applaud that movement because we all love work, right? But speaking of which, so I saw, I'm gonna read no AV Club review, let alone the comment section. What was I thinking? But then someone linked a thing. I don't know what it is. If someone tweets a link and says like, this show's great, and then they tweet a link to the review, I'll get tricked into thinking it's okay to read the review, and then I'll scroll down. I don't know, why am I scrolling down? Oh, what bad thing are they going to say about my stupid late night thing and the thing? So a big thing was that I ripped off Dead Authors podcast.
Right.
So sorry about that.
Because somebody had said a similar thing to me, like, "Hey, isn't this the same idea?" And it's not really the same idea. And also, the idea for Dead Authors came from a Steve Allen show called Meeting of the Minds,
which is what this show came from as well, by Rich Corson, the Daily Show guy who just created the show and hired me to host this pilot that didn't get picked up by IFC and then just handed over to the History Channel.
Essentially, anyone who was old enough to remember Meeting of the Minds with Steve Allen had in the back of their head, I wish this show was entertaining.
Yeah.
And so eventually you grow up and you take power into your own hands.
It's a podcast. It's audio only. Is it? Have you committed it to the lookies?
We would do like the live shows. We would do in costume. Like we would do it, in front of an audience in costume, in character.
All right,
the whole
so
time.
I ripped it off then.
No, but it's not. But it's not this. But I didn't come up with the Dead Authors concept. I just came up with the idea of doing it as a podcast. I got invited to do the show. It was invented by a guy named John Korn in San Francisco, who worked for 826 up there. And the idea was they would get someone to pretend to be a dead author in costume, and they would like do a Q&A with people, with an audience. And then I got asked to do it with Jen Kirkman and Eddie Pepitone for a show. It was the first time I did it, and I, for whatever reason, decided to be H.G. Wells. And it was not decided beforehand how the show was going to go, and so the idea was the three of us would just go out in front of this audience of indifferent people, and we would field questions from people who did not know what was going on and did not care. So I said, how about I moderate it in character? And the whole conceit came up like right then. It's like, let's say I transported you guys in my time machine, which is real, and so I'll ask questions to get it going, and then hopefully the audience would join in, which they didn't, except for one very drunk person at 3 p.m. at the West Hollywood Book Fair. And that was it. And then it was a lot of fun. And I said, well, this could easily be a regular show. And that was it.
Well, that sounds like it is derivative of it. I mean, it sounds like it bumps enough that the people in that comment section weren't huge dicks by pointing it out. When there's a dot there, they'll connect it. Then they talked about my weight. Then it just didn't stop until it was rubble, just charred rubble. And I don't understand, when did I start trying to convince people I was thin? How many times do I have to parade around and go, look how fat and drunk I am, before the AV Club commenters stop trying to blow the fucking lid off of it like it's All the President's Men or something. I fucking, like, it's not a secret, but it hurts when you say it. It hurts when you say it. Because here's my one secret that I'm sensitive about. I'm a control freak. I don't want you saying it. I say it. I say it. Me. I don't like some fucking anonymous person sitting there in their basement in Washington State and fucking like, it looks like somebody's been hitting the Haagen-Dazs. It's not fair. That's not funny, and it's not fair. What show would you do? I bet you'd rip off a podcast too. It's like all you're doing is talking about how fat people are.
Is that a podcast? Is someone hosting that? Surely someone is.
There should be.
Who's fat this week? Let's take a look.
It should just be a comment section podcast where it's just like, welcome to what just happened. I'm Caterpillar 69. I don't know. I can't riff a name. I just typed that in at random when I logged in. So that just happened. I'd rather die than watch that again. And they never tell you what they're commenting on, but they just. With me, as always, is the person who's going to turn this into either race or right versus left.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's very hard when you know those things are there, and you read it, someone links to a thing that you've done. It's very hard to have the self-control to not look at what people are saying. Then, knowing that right under there, there's a bunch of fucking people talking about it, and they're weighing in on what they think. It's so difficult.
The only good thing was when Community was running, like, at its peak, if there was a bad review of a show, it was like, this episode wasn't that great. Then I'd go straight to the comment section. I was like, have at 'em, boys. Pick that skeleton clean. There's something new to fucking eat up, like right above you. Fucking. It made me, because I said to Spencer on the way home, I was like, I did it the 800th time. I'm 43 years old. I've learned this lesson over and over again. I don't know why I went there. The only thing you could say was like, it's just like, it's like picking a piece of glass up off the floor and just stabbing yourself in the face. I was in a really good mood. I went there because you really have to run the thought experiment of really seriously run the thought experiment of what happens the day that you click on the AV Club review and it says, whatever the review says. It's just a repeat of the press release. But then the top comment says, like, Harmon's never looked better. I think this idea is very original. I think he's on top of his game as ever. Kudos to him. Hats off to him. Very funny, very young looking, very thin, very sober. I salute you, sir. And then every comment for 1,000 comments was, couldn't agree more. Ditto. I second that. Here, here. I. The ayes have it. You would like scroll through that, and then you'd go, well, I don't have to go there ever again. Well, I don't know why I'm saying the editorial you. I would do that. I would scroll through and go.
Exactly what you mean.
It's but that's not a real thing.
Wouldn't a part of like your self-loathing? Wouldn't, I mean, obviously it's a hypothetical thing, but wouldn't you just automatically distrust all of that unanimous praise? Wouldn't you like find a way to?
That's what I just said.
Okay.
How dare you criticize me or agree with me?
Dan, you've never looked better.
I could blow him up for the rest of the night. That guy's on the hook. He drank the Kool-Aid. I mean, that's terrible, right? And then, I always get mad when people tweet at me and they go, by the way, we'll ask you some questions later.
Are they about you?
Bingo.
I'll try to involve you in this thing
as best you can.
Have people ever tweeted you and said, "Hey"? Either positively or negatively, but with the like handle on it of like, hey, I know you don't like it when people are positive, but
no.
So that's I
have not gotten that specific.
That's like a mythology I fostered somehow. So like people will go like,
that you don't like it when people are positive.
So the two categories of that the people will go, hey, I know you don't respond to people being nice, so fuck off and your show's awful. Right. And I'm like, okay, I get it. We've run that through the periscope and the mirrors bouncing. You're saying good show, fuck off. Then there's actually the person that annoys me a little bit more is the sweet nice person who's saying, hey, I just wanted to let you know I really like Rick and Morty, but I know you don't care about people who like your stuff, but I thought I'd tell you anyway. And I always type back to those people, fuck you.
That's fair. But you interact with people a lot online, right? So they know that. But I mean, the thing is, because I don't respond to a ton of people, and I don't like respond to certainly not anything negative, unless I am 1,000% sure that I am. It doesn't bother me. Do you know what I mean? Like I can make a joke out of it. And I can quote the thing that they said and make a joke out of it. If I just think, oh, this is dumb and it doesn't actually hurt my feelings.
I just saw the Hateful Eight last night. The Tim Roth's character says, if you're when you're hanging somebody, if there's an ounce of passion to it, you maybe shouldn't be hanging them. So when you're responding to a tweet, I think that's what you're saying is like you run it through a filter of like, is there anything happening here where I'm just not like kind of like, a good professional like dealer or pit boss at the Tompkins Casino, just doing my job, entertaining, like making sure everybody's like being dealt with fairly.
Honestly, what it is, if it makes me laugh, if it's like someone's trying to say a mean thing, but it just makes me laugh, I'm like, oh, this is great, and then I will tweet that out. But I don't respond a lot because it's like, where does it end? You
mean if someone insults you and it's funny, you'll retweet it? Is that what you're saying?
If they're trying to,
if it's so absurd that it doesn't hurt his feelings. Like,
yes. If the intent was to hurt my feelings, but it failed.
Yeah, but if you felt any wound or any passion in it, or any like, I gotta settle the score, you leave.
I will not give it attention.
You leave that one alone.
Yes,
that's very wise. It's very smart.
As a result, I think because you do interact with people so much, there are people that just want your attention in some way or another.
Right.
And I've seen this happen with other people where I've seen like somebody write like to, I forget who it was, but they wrote a bunch of positive things, didn't get a response, and then wrote a negative thing just to get a response from this person.
Yeah, Dan,
and then they said, this is why I did this.
Right. Dan, that has to be a huge, I'm sure you know this, that has to be a giant part of people poking you is because they know that you might fire back at them and
right, but what I find over and over and over again is that that eventually they will unfollow me and block me because they don't want just attention. Mm-hmm. Like, and I was obsessed with that, like going like, So that's the game we're playing. Like, you just want my attention, because then they go through all the phases where they're like, "What kind of loser are you paying attention to me?" And then it's like 3 days later, they're like, "Leave me alone." And I'm like, "Are we? What are we done? I want to hang out. I want to talk to you." You got Dan Harmon on the line. What's going on? How's your mom? How's your blog? But anyways, I would say that people absolutely, of course, all this is true. But when you send a positive tweet to somebody, no news is good news. Well,
you pays your money and you takes your chances. You know what I mean? Like, you write a thing out there. The idea is that you write a thing because this is genuinely how you feel.
Right, exactly.
It's not supposed to be about, what you. Of course, you hope that someone will respond. I've written positive things to people that I admired, after like hearing an album or watching a TV show or whatever. No response, and it's like, oh, it would have been nice if the person said something, but I didn't feel like I was owed that.
Tell us who.
It was
Mariah Carey.
When she split up with Tommy Mottola, I was so proud of her. And I was like, I wish someone would have had Twitter so I could tell her all about it. I'm not good on the timeline with when Mariah Carey left Tommy Mottola. I can't remember if Twitter was in our lives at that point.
Why is his mic so loud? Are you an auctioneer?
Yeah, I am. I'm like a slow roll auctioneer. Paul, I don't do the fast.
Paul, what is the next item up for auction? What is the next item up for bid?
It is a pair of jackalope antlers. This whimsical gift can be found all over the Tex-Mex areas of the country.
What's our starting price?
$1.
You can.
Do I have a yoop?
Is that my imagination? Because
I think he just got such a trained theater voice.
I'm also yelling. Is that? No one told me not to yell. So I've been yelling the whole time. I've never trusted these things.
Dan, what percentage of your replies to people, do you ever reply to positive stuff? Do you go, hey, thank you, nice to hear from you?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, so does that even out? Like, is it 50-50?
Well, there have been days in the fucking 38 years I've been on Twitter, or whatever it's been. I've gone through different phases where, because that stuff got to me, where I'd make sure I'd actually count and I'd go, okay, 50%, just to shove it up the ass of the people I hate. I'm like, thank you, Nancy, very nice to be said, blah blah blah. Fucking asshole, that guy back there. It's still worshiping at the altar of hatred.